Hi everybody, Sandi Clarkson here with you today with a process video for My Creative Scrapbook using the January limited edition kit. And I just wanted to show you kind of a process of using this decoupage paper from Little Birdie Craft that is in the kit, and I included it in the unboxing video, but more toward the end. So this is from Little Birdie, and there's 4 sheets in there, and there's 2 styles. And anyway, I'm trying to pick out the papers for my first project, and I think I'm going to go with something like this, and then do the photo over here in the corner and let these florals show. Originally, I was going to use the drawers over here and kind of do the same thing, but there's a little bit more contrast with the paper with the alphabet on it. And then I also had thought about spelling out, this is my mother-in-law from years ago. She was more the age of, well, was the age of my grandparents. And anyway, I thought I could either spell out her name, which was Vida, V-E-D-A, or I could put the year of her birth. But the things are all around everywhere, so I'm gonna have to stick with her name, because I think I'm gonna use the 9, because I'm gonna use this kind of like this. But anyway, I thought I would put the photo, whether I choose to use the baby photo or the one of her more at middle age. I think she was probably around 60, 65 in that picture right there. But anyway, I got a piece of corrugated cardboard from my stash, just something that comes, in your Amazon packages, or you could use the corrugated cardboard that your kit comes in. And I just cut a tag that's about 6.5 inches tall. And I thought that I would decoupage the paper onto the tag, and then I'll put the photo on the tag once that's on there, and probably cluster in some layers behind, and then maybe use the mount the tag on the doily like that. And then of course add some florals and title and that kind of thing. So I thought I would start by seeing how this turns out. And I had looked at both pieces. I can't find the other one right now that I'm filming, but there was another one that had a great piece of like dictionary print in it, but I thought that wouldn't work very well because this has kind of got the same thing. So I didn't want full on butterflies, not that you're going to see a lot of it anyway, but I did like the clock down here, and then just kind of some faded in. So what I did was trace this, on like this. Usually I go underneath and lay things like that, and then trace them out. And then when you layer on them, they seem to fit better. But I'm going to try it this way. So I'm going to be applying it with this Distress Collage Medium from Ranger, and that is the matte finish. And I did cut this, I wanted to say, with my tonic scissors, just because I didn't want to use a paper trimmer or anything like that. And then I used my crocodile for the punch. And so I'm going to go ahead and cut this out. I might do better with the longer scissors. You could gesso the paper before you get started. If I want to do that, then I might do it later, but it will... I don't think this is going to need to be faded out or anything like this. And I think this will look good on the corrugated cardboard. But if it doesn't, then I will just cut out another piece of corrugated cardboard. And I will be ready to paint it first and then trim it out. Also, if you do paint or gesso, then that way you won't have any, edges showing, that kind of thing. So it looks like that's going to fit pretty good. So I'm going to use kind of a wide brush, and I'm just going to put that on the tag. All right, so I'm going to do this off camera because you probably don't want to watch me, or maybe I'll just speed it up real quick because this won't take but just a jiffy. And I don't have to let it dry or anything, obviously, because I want to use it as an adhesive. So I'm just going to set that right there, and I'll just go ahead and put this on like that. And then you can use a brayer if you want to. That will just kind of help it adhere a little bit to the surface. I like to use this decoupage paper on things like tile and also on wooden things, wooden frames, wooden boxes and that kind of thing. All right, so now I'm just going to come back with another layer. I've got some in the lid. I might as well use that up because that'll just make things stick. And so then you can either let this air dry or you can blow it dry. I think that for today's purposes, I'm going to let it air dry. There's no real hurry because I was just interested in getting this part of my process filmed. All right, so that's got a good coat on there. And then once it dries, I will come back and I will punch out the little hole that's in there. So I think I got all the edges. Now you can tear the edges if you, instead of cutting them with the scissors. I usually like to tear if I'm putting it on a layout or something like that. But I didn't want it to feather out necessarily on this. I wanted it to be more edge to edge. So that's why I did that. So anyway, we are going to let that dry, and I'll be back with you in a few minutes. Hi everyone, I'm back and I'm already working on my layout here, and as you can see I did go with the, I'm just going to call it alphabet paper, and that's about a 2.5 inch wide strip over there. I did put this on some white cardstock background so that I could move the floral paper over to the right, you know, all the way so that I could cut off about that same 2.5 inches on the right hand side of the floral text paper because I wanted the florals to be seen. That's why I have my photo over to the left. And there you can see that I've put down the strip from the cardstock sticker sheet, and that looks like a little book edge right there by the alphabet paper and in between, you know, on top of the more floral paper. But now I'm adding the paper doily that comes in the kit, as well as that completed decoupage page that, or tag that I did and you saw earlier. And now I'm adding some elements behind, and these are some of the ephemera pack, and really some really pretty ones. So I just kind of chose by color and by image, and then I stapled them together because there was some bits at the bottom that I wanted to preserve since they would be hidden underneath the photo. I did go with the photo of my mother-in-law when she was around 60 or 65. She lived to be 100, so I guess for her that was middle-aged. But anyway, I have added these together. As I was layering them, they kept moving around, so that's why I really did staple them. And then adhered her photo and wanted to add that on top of the tag. Now, a lot of the tag gets covered up with all my elements, but, you know, as a scrapbooker, that's okay with me. I know it's there, and it's part of the process in, you know, creating something unique and for yourself. I want to elevate the photo just a little bit, so I added some corrugated cardboard behind there, and I'm adding that. I am using my precision glue from Girlie, which is very much like art glitter glue. And that's, you know, just what I'm using on this layout. And I took so much time trying to figure out how I was going to do this page and how I was going to do these letters to create her name. That took me, you know, a long time to not get them cut out. That part was quick, but I cut them out, distressed them, And then I had to figure out how I was going to put them on the page. Was I going to put them at the bottom or horizontally or what? And finally I just decided to kind of cluster them there along the right-hand side, and that way it didn't take up too much space. Everyone in the family knows her name, so I didn't think I was compromising anything by, kind of layering them on top of each other. And it just gives kind of a scrambled, old, laying around vintage kind of look. So I've done that, and then I'm adding in the flowers, and I've chosen one of the brown ones and some of the cream ones. And the one on the left-hand side is a really large floral, and I thought about reducing it, but even by taking that bottom layer off, it wouldn't have made it too much smaller. So I just went ahead and used it as it is. And there you can see me playing around with trying to decide where I want to put the chipboard scissors or that little cardstock vertical piece there with the key on it and the kind of fishtail edge. And I think off camera later, move my scissors down a little bit more because I want that vertical piece to be a little higher than the edge of the scissors. And there you saw me crumpling my flowers just to make them, look more realistic. I have laid down that butterfly there from the cardstock sheet. I do come back later, maybe off camera, and I trim away the white edge because I thought it would look better since this was kind of a vintagey page to, just get rid of that white edge. So I did that and then put it down in the same spot. As you can see for the cream floral, I'm adding it on top of some corrugated cardboard squares just to give it some height. This will probably be displayed in a display box or on a canvas and mounted on the wall somewhere. And now for balance, I wanted to bring in the little ephemera piece of the 4-drawer junk drawer, which is like the name of our collection here. And then I'm just auditioning some different pieces that I was thinking about using and tucking in there and kind of giving it a full look. There is a junk drawer on the cardstock sticker sheet, I believe it is, and it shows a bunch of florals and stuff inside a junk drawer like this. So these were some really pretty, I call it, premium real estate ephemera, but they just were so nice for this. And she was a much loved mother-in-law, so I just wanted to go ahead and use them here. I'm adding in also that little clock because that just goes with the theme. As you can see, it's part of the collection. And so, I don't know, it's just a reminder of time and how it passes so quickly. So I also bring over one of the little title pieces, and I think this one says Snapshot of the Past. And so I distress the edge a little bit with some vintage photo ink, and then I just place it right there underneath her picture. All right, just checking everything out. And then the next thing I do come along to work on is and finalize is the junk drawers. But I come back with that little ephemera piece that says Remember, because that had been part of my original idea for a title. But now it seems that her photograph is really, the little letters, Vita, is really the name of the layout, if you will. So I'm wanting this to be really full, so I'm experimenting and auditioning some different pieces from the collection. And I thought it would be cute to add some of those little tiny word strips that said, I think it said odds and ends and love this and that kind of thing. But then I decided that would just be too cluttery or too busy because I think the page is already kind of busy looking with all the letters and what I've added so far and what I plan to add. So I think here I take all these pieces off camera and I distress them with my distress tool just on the edges, and it's light distressing, but it was enough to help it pop off the page a little bit and go with the theme. and then I adhere it all on a piece of corrugated cardboard. I do after I'm finished and I'm actually photographing. I see that my junk drawers got a little crooked somehow, and so I had to come back and rearrange them and straighten them up again. But anyway, that kind of balances the floral cluster over there. And there I am with those little pieces I told you about. But I've had so much fun with this collection, and I hope you do too. You can go so many various ways with this, either vintage or girly and sweet. There's lots to choose from in the kit this month. And then I do come along and add some hearts. I'm using a combination of cardstock black hearts and chipboard hearts. There I'm just checking to see if those drawers are straight, and at that point in time they were. So there's another one. I just kind of wanted to bring in some more black because there's so much black on the left-hand side of the layout. And so I do that. And then my final thing with the layout is just splattering with some walnut stain. And I believe I do that afterwards off camera. And I apologize for the glare there. I'm coming back with one of the black tags from the kit because I wanted some more black over on this side. You can see I did choose the buttons and put them vertically to be my vertical element. And I was able to use that other fishtail one on the left-hand side like I had previously planned. So I appreciate you coming by today. You're going to see my final project and some close-ups. There'll be details below about how you can order a kit, and also subscribe to our kit club and never miss anything. We have 4 different kits you can choose from, so lots for every style of scrapbooker. Please like and subscribe if you want to see more of my content in your YouTube feed, and I appreciate you coming by today. Bye-bye.